Howdy friend, we are back to day 2 of my farming life. First, as I said 1000 times already, I need to make initial capital to start to make real money. What do you say? Have I thought about a bank loan? Well, I did, and it was totally unacceptable for me. You see, that still was the Republic of Hooter. And the word bank is basically the synonym of the word bandit. Yeah, if they got you on the hook anyhow, it actually means that they are going to strip you entirely. So I continued to work as a manager mostly. If you wish, in mother language, I started a so-called body shop for farmers. As Hooter was huge and entire rural country, there were dozens of farmers who need working hands from time to time, and they don't want to hire guys for the full time. And that's fair if you just need a guy to harvest your crop and then to seed the new one. Why do you want to pay him all the time when your plant is merely growing? Another side of the coin is that the guy in turns want to have food all the time, but not only when the farmer wants him to work. In the end, I hired most of the people who aren't yet drunk, which isn't a significant number in the Hooter. The plan was to buy contracts from the farmers and constantly resell it to the workers. Simple. The problem was that I had no equipment, so I had to rent it as well. In the end, I usually got no more than a fourth part of the money from a contract, which was still infinitely better than nothing when you did no actual work. I got fortunate, or maybe I was the only one with a sober team, but we got a vast number of contracts. Harvesting sunflowers on the small field number 16, the harvester looked pretty small in the beginning, but it turns out I was wrong. That was actually a very compact transformer with pretty alright harvesting area. As for transportation of the harvest, nah, I had no spare money, so that was just some boring tractor with a trailer. Potent, sure, but utterly dull. Personally, I would not buy the one for myself. The next contract was about a beetroot on a huge field. The machine itself was fantastic, super sturdy and roomy, even though the max speed is rather not impressive, though the amount of horsepower is pretty remarkable. Such a monster will not be stuck on hills. The steering is pretty strange though, as both the front and the very rear axles are capable of steering. Well, in the end, the monster itself is exceptionally agile. Oh, I wish I could buy the one like that, but the price is terrifying. It's like $500,000. Impossible! As well, that was the very first time when I tried to drive the actual truck, and I loved it so much. It was that very incredible combination of a pickup speed and the power of tractor that is totally the number one asset that one need to buy or rent for oneself. The contract itself was a miracle. The owner proposed us a whole 27,000. Surely you need to remember about rent and helper's payment. Still, that pushed us up heavily. Well, what was the next? I don't remember that so clearly anymore. As things started to repeat itself, I decided to try all the John Deere machines at that time. To be fair, I don't really appreciate them. The color scheme isn't my favorite, and the overall look isn't so sexy as for the previous. If you ask me, I would say there were around 3 out of 5 points for me. I still had no great transport equipment, so I rented the tractor as well. And it's John Deere again. Here it's the same. Green, big, powerful, but nothing special. We started to dominate with guys there totally, you know. Finally, we got the contract for the cotton field. That was exciting. I've never worked on the machine like that before. Well, I didn't really work at that time as well. But there was the real star, and I'm talking about heavily promoted GCB machine that actually had all the pluses of the other medium tractors, but as well. First, it was yellow, which already makes it to be one of the best machine ever. Second, GCB can drive as fast as 65 km per hour, no one else can do the same. Lastly, it has control over both axles, which is not only cool and make you roll like a pro, but it's actually efficient. That boy is definitely greatest. The owner of the tennis field appreciated the quality of my guy's work, so he asked us to help him with plowing the field straight away. As the area was huge, I had the pleasure to try the biggest plow in the shop, as well as the biggest tractor that I ever drove before. The massive plow was impressive indeed, especially in comparison to another set of machines that was busy on another small fields. Just have a look at them, they are like ants in comparison to this big boy. To keep things busy, the fourth and the last sober guy was working on the outfield. The harvester was the same as for sunflower field, so nothing exciting in the end. I personally almost haven't paid attention to that at all. Dampening the prices and taking out a job in the region, that was the way. What about me? To put simply, I was experimenting with trees. I still tried to find a good way of cleaning my backyard on the farm. The way I did it from the very beginning wasn't so bad. I could have finished it entirely like that. You know, it's indeed possible to use just the chainsaw to cut trees down and then pack them in the trailer one by one with that mechanical hand that's already on the same trailer. Unfortunately, my guys made some money, and as you get richer you get lazier. I know. I can justify it like, well, I just wanted to optimize my time. Though, that would be a lie. I just was too tired to do all the stuff manually. Alright, here is the story. Exactly right now the next house to ours gets renovated. They already demolished the old one and started to clean the plot. They had some trees there and they use exactly the same machine like this one for, I would say tree disassembling. I swear you, it has even the same color. So I decided that I totally have to try this machine as well. So, the plan is the following. This machine can crush the trees into the wood chips. Then the chips are packed into the trailer. I assume that it should be much easier just to carry small logs by hand into the crusher machine than try to control that mechanical hand. I hope that it's going to be more comfortable. The real question is how much profit I'll lose in comparison to the time that I'll gain. As I usually pack approximately 3 trees into that small trailer, I would love to see what is the profit from the same trees but in the different form. In the form of chips. Look, that's a nice discovery. Do you know that just a small log in your hands give you almost god powers? So you can lift and move trees of any size just with your bare hands? See? It would be impossible for me to lift that wood, though I can move it closer to my crusher with no problems. Yep. Actually, that wasn't so fun to run around with the logs. I don't really know if the problem was in my hands or in the physics itself that day, but it was difficult. The chunks always tried to run or fly away from me. In the cut shop, I saw a charming and adorable guy, this one. I decided to give it a shot. It has a chainsaw header. It looks like you can at the same time cut a tree and hold it, so maybe move it after that as well. I'm not totally optimistic about it, but I have to try. Well, I guess you know what happened. Yep, this cute boy is not the machine that can help you with trees in real life. Yeah, this kid is too light in comparison to a tree itself. You see, I now almost doubled the amount of money that I had at the beginning of the day, and none of that thanks to the helpers, surely? It looks like now I can afford to rent this big guy. I had to get used to the way it turns around itself. That was the only way to maximize both the time of work that I spent on trees and the profit that I got from them. Cause the biggest profit goes from the logs itself, not from chips. For such a big boy, I had to find the appropriate friend to carry the big logs, like this guy. Yep, there was no way after that contract that I would miss the opportunity to rent a truck. The only problem now, when I finally could afford all this tremendous big machinery, I had not enough big trees to cut. So I decided to let them grow up first. Well, you may already guess the final answer for the question. What is the best way to deal with trees in here? I still have not tried the tree harvester though, as it can only operate on the popular fields, and I have none of them, but so far it turns out that it actually takes almost the same time to handle all the small chunks with bare hands and sell them as tree chips as it would have taken me to do that with mechanical hand logs. The chips delivery from the 3 trees took me to drive to the woodcutter 2 times. Yeah, I probably just had to use the bigger trailer, but still, it was additional time again. Finally, when I sold in the form of chips, I lost almost the half of the income. 24,000 liters of wood chips gave me 4,000 euros, and if I would have delivered them in the form of logs, I would have made 7,000 euros. To put simply, that was fun to play around with chips, but not worth it at all, at least without the proper harvester. So far the big trees need big machines to handle and big money to invest, which gave a bit of a closed circle to us. So that was about it. Sun went down, the day was almost over, I cut down all the big trees in the backyard and my helpers finished dozens of contracts. All of that gave me some machines. Of course all of the new machines were rented. Not a bad result of the day in the end. See you next week in the same place. Bye!